Today I am combining two fashion icons and ask, should a vegan wear silk or feathers? Both are probably the most overlooked fabrics for their abuse of the animals. So let's cue the intro. Hey, it's Fee here, the Healthy Vegan author, helping people to go vegan through my books and encouraging you to stay a healthy vegan. So we're going to start with silk. It originated in China around 3000 BC, and apparently the wife of the mythical Yellow Emperor was given the title Goddess of Silk. Now, I'm about to say her name, so please don't get offended if I get it wrong. Lady Xiling Shi. And as the story goes, she introduced the silkworm rearing. So really, she actually created the first silkworm farm. And she also invented the loom on which the silk was spun. Now, silk stayed in China until the Silk Road opened up around 130 BC. And then the fabric started to be traded. But it was centuries later before other countries began to cultivate the silkworm. And when that happened, the production of silk just expanded. Okay, so that's a fairly brief background and a bit of, history thrown in. But how is silk actually made? The silk itself is the protein fiber found in the larvae of certain insects. The most well-known is the larvae of the silkworm Bombyx I think that's how you pronounce it, which comes from the mulberry moth. And it's actually reared in captivity. In fact, I don't think that there are any left in the wild at all. I couldn't, when I was researching, I couldn't find that there are. The silkworm itself never gets to be fully grown because it's actually the cocoon that is needed. So live cocoons are thrown into boiling water. Think lobsters. However, there is a technique that does not require killing the worm. So a man from India developed this technique and he called it Ahimsa, I think it's called, or peace silk. But, and it's a big but, even though the cocoons are empty, the moths are killed. There has been a lot of inbreeding going on, and over the generations, the bodies of the moths that emerge are far too heavy in proportion to their wings, so they're unable to move, let alone fly. What happens? The moths are crushed to death in a mixer. Pretty standard, really. Think baby male chicks. Obviously, some females are kept. And the male moths are stored in a refrigerator and taken out for mating. Bizarre. This happens, a couple of times until the male is no longer useful, and so it's just discarded into the waste to just wither away and die. Now, neither method is ethically vegan. Both kill the animal at some point in its life, and both are still using animals for our own purpose when there are way other fabrics out there to choose from. Now, let's get on to the feathers. And this includes down, the soft under feathers on birds. Now, these are usually a byproduct from the ducks and geese that are bred for meat or foie gras. So birds naturally molt, and so the feathers are usually plucked out during this molting cycle, which is around every 6 to 7 weeks. However, a lot of the feathers are not ready to come out, So the birds are put under a lot of pain and duress. Plus, the birds don't all molt at exactly the same time. Geese are generally not fed the day before, simply to avoid their droppings contaminating the feathers. So the bird is held down, sometimes with the head between the person's knees. And if it's not done right, the bird can get injured or even suffocate. The other way is to hold the bird with one hand and use the other hand to remove the feathers. Many birds are left bleeding from the follicles, as well as, having skin damage and tears and bruises. They can be plucked several times, excuse me, and either die by slaughter or from trauma. So where does that leave the vegan? Obviously, any plucking done either before or after death is a complete no-no. But what about the feathers that are found, such as natural molting from wild birds in nature? I mean, I've found a few over my lifetime, and some of them are really, really pretty. Well, it's a bit like the look-alike leather. No one will know that you just found the feather that you've got stuck in your hat. As for using these feathers for pillows or in fashion, just not a viable option at all. So vegans don't do feathers, just like they don't do silk. And now it's time for the wee bonus fact. So you may or may not know that on the 1st of July, that's just, this year, a few days ago, Japan began commercially hunting whales again for the consumer market after more than 30 years of, still hunting whales, but for research purposes. Not going to go into the politics of it, but they have gone against international rules and laws. So in the previous whaling program, which was supposedly for scientific research, the annual target was 850 minke whales, 50 fin whales and 50 humpback whales. However, they were actually killing anywhere between 200 and 1,200 whales a year. So last year in 2018, they scaled that target back to 333 minke whales. In the commercial hunting, supposedly there is a cap on the number that can be caught, and that is 227 minke. So that's, quite a large drop down from the 850, which originally it was. So even though the numbers have come down, the reason for hunting them has changed. And then, you'll probably get the pirate whalers, those perhaps whose fathers fished or hunted whales. Maybe, the family will go back out, always the black market, etc. Stupid part is that there has been an almost 99% decrease in the consumer demand for whale meat from 1962 to 2017. There is no justification for whaling, either for meat or for scientific purposes. I mean, even economically, it's currently not the best candy in the store for the Japanese with such a lack of demand. However, you just watch. There'll be a massive marketing campaign in Japan to get people back into eating it. And if that happens, the cap of 227 will definitely rise. That's it for today. Thank you so much for watching. If you got something from this video, please share and give it a thumbs up. And subscribe, clicking the notification bell so you don't miss the next one. Remember, have great food. Make it whole plant-based just to keep yourself healthy, and be compassionate to all animals, including humans. Bye for now.